Today we are here to bring together 50 Somali individuals who are community leaders to discuss some of the issues that the community are facing.
The purpose of the event is to gather the ideas of loads of different Somalis, gather their thoughts and opinions on what we can do as a community because we're vulnerable in many aspects of society.
All the issues that's going to be covered today affected me personally and affected almost every single Somali that live in the UK.
Today's media, it seems, are capable of polluting the cultural pool of images and ideas about minority groups, thereby reinforcing or reinscribing prejudicial views and racist practices. But albeit rarely, they can also challenge stereotypes and serve to promote multicultural understanding and intercultural dialogue. Where we have to position ourselves is within the realm of socially accepted moral behavior. It is within this realm of coverage that most of the positive stories have actually come out from. So you guys would remember the Mo Farah coverage of his Olympic win, for example? That kind of shows that there is leeway that we can work with. You know, there's no doom and gloom kind of situation here.
None of these journalists actually know what it's like to live in the Somali community or any of the issues that people face in the Somali community. However, we must also take accountability because it's not like these people are writing any fictional stories. Some of the stories actually on the community, some of these things actually happen.
It's time that we take ownership of our own narrative, whether it's bad or good, and take advantage of the power of social media, for example.
Somebody mentioned getting the Somali positive image out there by getting the communities to come together to create a newspaper such as The Voice, where individuals can contribute to their own narrative. Again, this could be a quarterly or this could be a monthly piece that they could do.
We need to utilize all these local media's newspapers as well, like the local Gazette. Why don't we invite them into these community events so they can see exactly what's going on and what's being discovered, and then people that live in the community know exactly what's going on and that we're not what we're told in the Daily Mail or whatever other newspapers they read.
If you want a positive image, it's too hard to want to change how an entire country run things. It'd be better to make your own image and your own narrative. So we think that we need Somali people from the community who will be spokespeople here in on mainstream television or just media outlets here.
We have loads of media outlets already, like Universal TV and so forth. We need to start linking with alternative media outlets so that then we can tell our stories through them. We don't necessarily all the time need to go to these big ones like BBC. Like someone was mentioning, the Huffington Post and so forth. If we've already got our TV producers and our own journalists, why are we not using that to then go tell our story through alternative media outlets?
Why don't we encourage Somalis to go into media? I mean, the diversity in the media within itself, we hardly have any representation. So to encourage people our age to go into the media is one other thing we could do.
We don't have to spread the positivity of somebody doing an amazing thing, but if you're doing something good, whether it's something huge or something small, you're still doing something good. So we need to encourage that, and we should also encourage creativity and the variety in the Somali community when it comes to different fields. Education is not the only form of success. We have a lot of Somali athletes, sports stars, artists, musicians, etc. It's time that we start to celebrate them.
The subject of Somali youth and their involvement in the criminal justice system, it's an issue that's been plaguing the Somali community in the UK for, well, close to nearly 2 decades now. There hasn't been a big sign of it getting better over the years, but it's started to improve. Numbers of reoffending are still high. The figures of Somali young men, specifically in prisons, is disproportionate to any other ethnic group in this country. So a very important subject to speak about and to continue to raise awareness on that and to come up with solutions to tackle that problem.
Instead of just talking to the kids on the surface, we need to literally delve to the kids in the estate. We need to delve to the ones that are standing in the streets. Like people, like we need to network because there's a lot out there. You just need to get out there to find them. So there needs to be an actual action plan. Because mentoring is so important, it needs to be more tailored to each specific age group, vulnerability group. So you wouldn't mentor a kid that's already in prison the same as you would a kid that could possibly enter the criminal justice system.
In the community, there's lack of community-based programs like play schemes, or I think because what Brother Ibrahim was mentioning, those boys that are lured to the gang culture, they start at age 12 when they first get initiated. They're quite young. But what do they do in the meantime? Is there any community-based play programs, community sports, not just for the boys and the girls? Is there any of these kind of resources in our community? And how can we build more of those?
Parents need to be empowered. They don't have a good understanding of the social context that their children are growing up in. Like the society is evolving so fast. You need to work with parents in order to teach them what the social ailments are. There are positive role models. There's a lot in here in the room right now, but the problem is there's no visibility between Somali positive role models and the kids on the blocks.
If I go to a kid in prison, I'll tell you, you know what, it's bad, whatever. I've never been to prison, but so how am I going to tell a guy who's in prison, you know what is wrong, you know what you did wrong, and just relate to them? There's people out there that I know have been in prison, oh, mashallah, they sorted themselves out. I can put him in contact with the guy that's in prison, and he will fix him better than anyone else in this room. Unless you've been to prison, that's the only way you're going to know.
In terms of rehabilitating kids that are already in the criminal justice system, I believe that communication is very important. A lot of the times they just need people to talk to them, to relate to them. A lot of the times even their parents don't come to see them because they're ashamed of what they've done, etc. They're in a cell by themselves, surrounded by people just like them. And when they go into prison, then that's when they actually have time to think. And a lot of the time they call it the prison mindset, but most of the guys in prison are changed people because they've been given time to think about what they're doing, etc. But the problem is, even if they change within prison, as soon as they leave prison, the same guys are waiting for them. They go to see their man then before they go home. So there needs to be some kind of connection between talking to them within prison and then helping them integrate back into society afterwards.
How can we rehabilitate young offenders? You don't have to only have education. What these kids want is money. So give them jobs, apprenticeships, so finding money, but then right ways of earning money, right? And a lot of people are stressing education, that's good, but education isn't the only way.
Events like this are thought-provoking. It allows people to get together, focus groups, to have conversations that a lot of people wouldn't have. Some people's opinions might change. Some people might go home with the same opinions that they have, but having that ability to have conversation and to really sift through that spectrum is really important.
Hopefully what is going to come out of this today is a lot of organizations to link each other, because as you can see, people are doing an amazing job.
I hope to see people take away what they've learnt today and actually implement it in the areas that they're from.
Events like this are very important for the Somali community because this is where we come together to discuss some of the issues and the common challenges that we're facing, and also to ensure that we come up with concrete action points to counter and tackle those issues that we are discussing today.